present things they hadn't seen or heard before, new stuff, try to make it interesting, keep it interesting. And I kept getting pushed to the side, and my time slot got narrower and narrower and narrower. They kept putting really boring stuff in and put me right at the end. And I was really being marginalised because I started writing for this mob, you see. So they would kind of...
That sucks.
Get it, yeah. So in the end,
how's business these days for the Australian UFO community? How are we going with sightings? Is it, from what I see and what I read on the internet, sightings around the world, especially through this 2012 phenomenon, are starting to go through the roof.
Starting to pick up everywhere.
Yeah, starting to pick up.
I don't know if it's been that busy in Australia, but I'm not getting a lot of reports anymore, and I don't do investigations anymore.
Okay, yeah.
So I just sort of write, I'm kind of a UFO journalist type of thing. I sort of write about what's going on, or what I'm researching myself.
Yeah,
and take it or leave it type of thing.
I've
gone through all that stuff where you do all the investigations, you're ringing 20 people a night, talking about it, asking them all the questions about their sighting. Certainly. 9 times out of 10 they've misinterpreted something normal like a planet or something.
Right.
Something that's not really weird or anything. You only get 1 or 2 in a 10-year period. You might only get 3 or 4 really good cases, or maybe 5 or 6 really good ones. That Trish Harrington case was a really good one. The big thing that flew over and blocked the view out. The other one, Pete and Marg at Bendigo. What they saw was a huge wing-shaped object that was transparent and silent, very low, that flew right over them. They had a spa business and they were out in their backyard one evening watching the stars, and this huge thing went over and was silent, and it was like 3 or 4 times the size of a jumbo jet wing. With no body or anything, just a wing. And it was just going slowly and no sound, and they could see the stars through it as it went across.
Oh, wow. So,
it just,
let's get to the crux of the matter. Who's piloting these things? Who's piloting these things?
It's all interesting in the UFO thing, but the whole point of it is, that means that there are other things.
It's the $60,000 question, isn't it? I mean, some of them might be highly advanced things that are top secret that we don't know about, but I don't think so. Have you heard about the that big case in they call it the Arizona Lights case?
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah. And have you seen any of the episodes of UFO Hunters? Have you watched any of those?
No, not too many. No.
They're fantastic. You got to watch them. You got to watch them. Yeah, they've done 3 TV seasons of 13 episodes, and then they stopped. They got stopped.
Really?
They were getting too close. Yeah, they got shut down.
I've got to look at it.
They're really good. Yeah.
So they actually go out and try.
One of the guys on the show is a friend of mine on Facebook. He's really cool. A guy called Pat.
Yeah.
He'll do anything to get to the bottom of the story. Like he'll dive to the bottom of the ocean, and he'll go down a well where there's rattlesnakes to try to get evidence, and he'll do anything. This guy.
So it was the US government that stopped it.
No,
was it a US?
The network stopped them.
It was an American TV show.
The networks were going to get in trouble if they kept. They were getting into very sensitive areas.
So
about government research into weird stuff that the government doesn't want you to know they're doing.
Certainly, yeah. Okay, so what's the big clincher like? Let's say, tomorrow, irrefutable proof, like proper camera footage, this and that, it gets out to the public, goes viral. Okay, UFOs and aliens exist. How does that benefit, in your estimation, how does that benefit the human race? And what does that mean for the human race?
Well,
do you have a theory of why they would be here if they're here, and where we come from, or
what are they doing? Because obviously they're not just going for a joyride and then they're obviously got sort of.
Well, it depends which ones you're talking about. I mean, there's so many of them coming here from so many different parts of the universe. And they've all got their own agendas, and we don't necessarily fit in with any of their agendas. We're like a snail on the driveway that gets run over when you're backing your car out. They don't come and ask you how you're feeling. If you're in the way, you're dead. And we have no consequence.
So what?
Necessarily.
What are they? What are they surveying, and why don't they make themselves? Is there some sort of unwritten law, universe law, where it's sort of like, well, look, until they're ready, no one can actually go and make themselves, properly known to another species.
It's a bit like Star Trek, with that non-intervention thing that they had. You weren't allowed to interfere with a lesser species.
It needs to be a voluntary transition realisation from the species itself. But why the secrecy? Why are they so determined to keep themselves hidden, or why are we so determined to hide them from the public? Either one Why is this such a
why
unknown?
is it so?
Why is it such a question mark?
It's a ridiculous.
Why can't we just
thing,
solve this? Either they're here or not.
Well, I mean, I think if they've got these, like you said, reverse engineering. If they've got these spacecrafts coming down, like, and they've got a way that they can manufacture free energy, that solves nearly, our whole society and life is run on the burning of fossil fuel.
Well, you have a look at it. The governments, all the vehicles that they have, the army, all of the military people, everything is run on oil.
Certainly.
Everything, all around, or everywhere is just run on oil.
So anything that will replace that, technology.
I had a drive of an electric car last weekend.
Was it good?
And it was
proper electric car?
That's St Kilda. It was fantastic. They had this electric vehicle festival, and you could go along and you could drive an electric car, and you could have a ride in the Tesla if you're lucky. Which goes from zero. The Tesla isn't a little sports car.
Yeah,
it can go from 0 to 100k in 4 seconds.
And it's electric.
Electricity.
It leaves the petrol cars behind. Listen for dead. That was fantastic, but I didn't get a ride in it. I saw it. I photographed it.
That's right.
I saw the Volt, the whole of the Volt, but I didn't get a ride in the
Because
Volt.
that's a new one coming out.
The Volt, it's out now.
It's out now.
It's $60-something thousand if you want one.
And you can just plug it into your house.
But this is a really exciting thing because we're going to be moving away from the fossil fuels, but we're still light years behind the visitors.
Certainly,
They've been seen to do things. They can travel from anywhere to anywhere in the universe faster than the speed of light.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right? Like, something that came out of the Disclosure Project. Have you heard of Stephen Greer?
Yes.
Disclosure Project.
We're big fans of Stephen Greer.
Yeah, well, he's been talking about superluminance capability vehicles that have come to light as a result of all these military guys breaking security and talking about it.
Yeah.
And they've had something since the 1960s that can go faster than the speed of light.
So that would
they don't
then
tell us about
that
it.
would
So they
have
it.
Yeah, they've had it for years.
Yeah.
But they can't tell you about it.
But that would again imply that we are not so correct about our ideas of what the laws of nature are, and so there may be other modes of reality surrounding us that don't necessarily fit into our current way that we look at things. So, like, perhaps the aliens aren't just space aliens from really far in the galaxy, or maybe they're also time aliens from the future, from the past. Maybe they're also dimension aliens, where we can't see them because they're only living in a different planet.
For a lot of people, that's getting into kind of sci-fi kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't see it that way. It's so far advanced on anything that we understand that it seems like science fiction. It isn't necessarily. Look, if you know how far the other distant solar systems are and how vast space is, if you could reach there and find a planet just like the Earth and live there, you'd be so far away that you might as well be in another dimension. You virtually would be. Time is only relevant to this planet here and now because you're here and now, and we measure time by an hour is 1/24th of the circumference of the Earth, how far it rotates in a 24-hour period. I mean,
time is just a human tool to understand.
That's so true.
Understand our memories and understand our predictions.
It's only got to do with what
it's a human experience. Time is just a human manifest.
Even the guys who went to the moon, like if they were standing on the moon, and are they going to say, well, what day is it? Oh, it's Sunday. Does that have any relevancy from the moon?
No.
I don't think so.
Time is only relevant when thinking about the past and future.
Yeah.
One of the things that came out of the Roswell, you've heard of the Roswell case, the Roswell crash and all that. One of the guys, the son of one of the military guys who was involved in the contracting of the artifacts from the crash, some of the reverse engineering artifacts, they tried to work out what is this stuff, what can we do with it, what military applications does this stuff have. They didn't even know what they were handling.
Yeah.
Debris from a crash, right? But they had microchips and things in there that they didn't know what they were. They didn't know what a transistor was in those days, in the 1940s. And one of the things that...
where are these items now?
They're still in the Pentagon. But they might have been destroyed when that so-called plane crashed into the Pentagon and destroyed the evidence. So they'll never find it.
They did.
Well, it was actually a missile, wasn't it? But anyway, that's another subject. But this, the son of the son of the colonel, right? The son of the colonel who was involved, who was given the task of going through this rubbish, and trying to work out what it was, and try to get scientists to work out what this was and what we could do with it. He's now passed away. He passed away about 10 years ago. But his son has been given talks about the Roswell thing, and he's saying that craft was a time-travelling craft.
Right.
Yeah, see that?
Which his dad never went into at all.
Yeah.
But apparently it could travel through time. Now, one of the things that Bob Lazar talked about with these objects is that they have gravity drives. They actually operate on they can generate their own field of gravity. Now, we can't do that. We can generate a very powerful magnetic field, but we can't generate gravity. We can't play with. We don't know how to play with gravity.
It's like playing with time itself, or space.
Well, time is altered by gravitational fields.
Yeah, it's all linked.
Yeah. You know how if you get
time and space are all one thing.
Get two atomic clocks, take one up very, very high away from the gravitational field of the Earth, and for a period of time, bring them back together. The time's out.
Yeah.
Right. And also, a strong gravitational field can bend light rays. So, astronomers know that you can see stars behind the sun that you're not able to see, but you can see them because the light rays are curving around the strong gravitational field of the sun. So, Bob Lazar brought all this stuff together in his little talk. There was a tape going on called the Lazar tape, where he talks about how he worked for the American government. He was given all these briefings to get him up to speed on what we know about the fact that we're not alone in the universe, and that several species of aliens have been coming here for a long time, since the biblical times.
Do you believe that there are aliens on this planet right now?
Well, there would be somewhere, for sure. Absolutely.
And what, looking like humans, not looking like aliens? Actually, because if they're looking like aliens, then where are they? What, in a cave somewhere?
Do they know that they're aliens?
They'd be in a military confine somewhere. Probably assisting us.
With the Roswell case, was there
a scientist?
Was there a creature captured in the Roswell?
Assisting scientists.
Well, with modern technology, trading and stuff. There was apparently a guy. There were several bodies that died. One survived at Roswell. And one escaped. One escaped after the crash and lived with the Indians for a couple of years. Have you heard of Robert Morningsky? There's a bit about him in a book called Beyond Roswell. And he's also on Facebook. You can friend him on Facebook and ask him about it. He reckons his grandfather was one of the guys that looked after this little alien and escaped from the Roswell crash. Stayed with them for a few years. They hid them from the military. The military kept coming looking for him, so they kept hiding this little guy. And he was this little guy, really clever, taught them all about the universe and everything. And then a ship came and picked him up and took him off a few years later, before the military came.
Do you believe in exchange programs between aliens and humans?
I
just started researching it.
I can't imagine it not happening. Definitely not. I can't imagine
so
it.
In that case,
they hinted at that in Close Encounters, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
So there are aliens that could be thinking that they're just humans because they're growing up looking like humans, but they've actually had been swapped with their as an infant.
I don't know.
Because I've heard that theory.
I don't know. There's all sorts of possibilities. It's more likely that I've heard a lot about them doing genetic experiments with us and making hybrids and forcing women who are the mothers of the hybrids. They harvest the baby before it's born. Have you heard about all that stuff?
No, I've definitely read a fair bit into abduction reports and continue.
Well, in all cultures on this planet for hundreds of years, there have been these fables of these little guys coming down from the stars, impregnating some of the women, and then the women losing the pregnancy. It doesn't go full term, and the babies disappear, and then so the baby's kind of harvested, and the hybrid lives somewhere else in the universe, and you never get to see them. But there's people. There's a guy who's just recently come out talking about his experiences as a kid. He's from Pascoe Vale. I went to his talk a few weeks ago, and he came and gave a talk at my group last year. Same story, and he said that he was on board this craft and he saw women being forced to breastfeed these
little alien
babies that weren't human.
Imagine putting one of them on your nipple.
Yeah, and they weren't happy about it. He said they were not happy about it, but they were hybrid babies.
Who weren't happy about it?
The women that would have to do the breastfeeding. Because they didn't. And yet they were kind of saying, look, this baby, more than just this is a hybrid baby, but some people are even saying now that these hybrid babies are actually clones of themselves, so it's actually a copy of themselves that they're supporting.
So let's say there is some
possible.
Let's say fucking oath it's possible. Like that's why I look at people like aliens don't exist or this and that. I was like, it's more realistic. Well, how do you know exactly? To start with, you're being ignorant. But the second thing is that with what we now know about the universe and the infinite possibilities and the multiverse and evolution and how ridiculously
things like the black holes
and how ridiculously amazing it is that we've even gotten this far as a species. You know, it is definitely